Burnley 2, Tottenham Hotspur 5. And we have just given Burnley an absolute drubbing. And our unbeaten start continues to the season. We moved to second in the table and 10 points from 4 games. It's absolutely been a brilliant start. So obviously, just finished watching the game. And we've got our Tottenham back. And this might be a meme one day, but we've got our Tottenham back. 4 games. And it's not just the unbeaten start to the games, but it's the fact that we're playing some great football. And even though Burnley are a newly promoted team, we've carved them up like a Christmas turkey. And so the game didn't start well. We fell behind after 4 minutes. Kind of some sloppy play in behind our right back, Porro. And I actually thought Porro was a bit sloppy today, especially in the first half anyway. He was kind of, doing a lot of stray passes around the back. And obviously when they scored their goal, they got in there behind him. And then the guy comes in and they're supposed to sweep it home. So obviously we fell behind. We didn't have the best start. But it shows character. And this is the kind of team where last season, under Conte and even under Mourinho as well, we probably would have had to wait a long time for Spurs to get back into the team, into the game. And in fact, oftentimes, we were known as like a second half team. The first half, we didn't even turn up most of the time. And a lot of times, especially, and I think there was a time last season where we fell behind for almost like 9 or 10 consecutive games. Not this time. We went 1-0 down, and then obviously we got back on level terms with Son, with a great dinked finish, an exchange with Mano Solomon, who I actually thought was, had a pretty good game. I like the balance between Solomon, Son down the middle, and Kulusevski. Although Kulusevski, for me, although he did have a good game, I'm probably going to do a player's rating after this. He did have a good game, but I think he's a bit slow or a bit laboursome. So, maybe when Johnson comes into the fold, I think Johnson, Solomon and Son might be that might be problems. But anyway, so that was 1-1. Son with a great finish, and then after that we just grew into the game. We got more confidence. We started to get control of the midfield, and around the 25-30 minute mark, we really was just laying siege to the Burnley defence. Getting in behind, getting crosses, getting shots. They were blocking. Burnley were defending well for a period of time, and then just before half time, the screamer from Cristian Romero. Oh, that was a belter, But actually, just before that, I did, James Maddison had a little 1-2 with, again, Solomon on the edge of the box. Kind of played on that down the left-hand side. Played a 1-2, came inside and done a little bend. And the keeper made a good save. And obviously after that, Romero's strike was quality. And I think that was an important goal to get at that time of the game, because obviously then we came out and we just asserted our dominance. So that was 2-1. And then obviously the third one. And you know what I like about this new Tottenham team with the press? And we did it all very well today, where, we was forcing Burnley under pressure a lot of the time. And they were giving the balls away. They were undercooking passes. And we were winning the ball back high up the pitch. And this happened early in the second half, when Burnley tried to play out from the back. Goes to the guy in the fullback area, right fullback area. We win the ball. Doggy plays it in to James Maddison. And you just knew. As soon as he let the ball run across his body and the whole goal opened up, you knew what he was going to do. He was going to whip it into the far corner. And he did it with a great aplomb. And that was 3-1. And from then, at least from my point of view, I was quite confident then that, we were going to go on and get more goals. And that's exactly what we did. The fourth one came in, and I know that I was being critical of Porro and his passing earlier in the first half. I did think he was sloppy, but he played a great ball to Son, right behind the defence. Took them out of the game, and Son went through and got his second goal of the game and made it 4-1. But we weren't done there. And actually, a few minutes later, Son completed his hat-trick. And how did that one actually happen, actually? Oh, on the left foot finish. I think that was the left foot finish, yeah. So Son got his hat-trick, made it 5-1. Then obviously Burnley got a consolation towards the end, which A little bit disappointing because I would have liked to have seen a 5-1 victory. But nonetheless, it was, obviously we had made changes at that point, so there probably was a bit disruption. And going back to those changes, it does show you that when we do make changes, how much it does disrupt the team a bit. But nonetheless, obviously, you're 5-1 up. There is certain, you're going to play the game a certain way as opposed to when you're 2-0 up. So yeah, there was a bit of complacency and a bit of people getting a bit too excited. Emerson Royale, I'm talking about you. Want to get too involved with the action with only a few minutes to go. But no, we done very well. It's a great victory. For me, it was a Maddison masterclass, and I know Son probably will get the plaudits with a hat trick. But I just think Maddison makes everything tick. He makes everything tick. He's the guy that if something happened to him, you'd be a bit concerned. We'd start to look a bit toothless again. But I did like the way Maddison obviously controlled the game, was making things happen, pulling strings. Thought Sarr was good in there, Basuma was good. You know what, as well, I actually did like Mano Solomon. I think I prefer the balance of Solomon on the left, Richarlison down Son down the middle, and Kulusevski on the right. But I've got a feeling soon Brennan Johnson will be the guy on the right. So you will have Solomon, Son, and Johnson as a front three. Remember where you heard it first. And I think that's going to be electric because, again, this is what I'm saying about Kulusevski. For me, Kulusevski is a bit slow, and it's not so much about a pace thing. Like, there was a moment in the game where I was watching him and the ball got, James Maddison done a great switch out to him. And he likes to wait for the ball to come to him, and then he kind of like, he jockeys, and then he like, So there's a bit of a labouring approach to him. But I like Kulusevski, don't get me wrong. But I feel like when Johnson's in there, he's going to be a lot more direct, a lot more pacey, a lot more aggressive with his play. And so when you've got that three of Johnson with the pace and directness, energy, you got Solomon, who for me, he's got energy. I don't know how, he's not very quick, but he's not a slouch either, but he's got trickery. And then you've got Son down the middle, who again, has got a little bit of pace, but a great finisher. He's probably our best finisher in terms of the front line. I think that's a good combination. I think that's a deadly combination. And I like that three with obviously Maddison, pulling the strings behind them. So, great victory. We move on. We come to the international break now. And afterwards, we've got Sheffield United, Arsenal, then Liverpool. So, it's an interesting few games coming up. So, we're going into those games with good form. And I look forward to it. So, a great victory, a great performance from the lads. I probably will do now a player rating thing later on. But how did you see the game? If you watched the game, how did you think we played today? How did you see the two halves? Obviously we started slow. How did you make of the front three? How did you find the balance between Son going down the middle instead of Richarlison? I think Son's days on the left might be over. How did you feel Solomon, Richarlison, and Kulusevski worked as a three? And as the fullback area, what do you think of Porro? Goalie did well as well. Good performance from Vicario, made a couple of good saves, and I thought he did well with the distribution with his feet as well. So, the signs are good. So anyway, Burnley 2, Tottenham 5. Come on, you Spurs.